Welcome to my little corner of the internet, where we celebrate creativity and growth. Greetings, viewers. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of Paryavarana Kavitodyamam in this video. Paryavarana Kavitodyamam English, Environment Poetry Movement is a 21st Telugu-language environmental literary movement. There are many literary movements in Andhra Pradesh during pre-independence period. These movements were mainly on Indian independence and freedom struggle. After independence, it has turned to social issues and disparities time to time. Feminism and Dalit rights were the issues in late 20th century. Now 21st century is the period for environment poetry movement in Telugu literature. This is called Paryavarana Kavitodyamam and it is the need of the hour. This paper explains how Paryavarana Kavitodyamam is bringing new trends in Telugu literature during with the brief history of earlier literary movements. Let's now shift our focus to literary movements in pre- and post-independence period and explore the ways in which it shapes our perspective. Telugu poetry has such history of more than a millennium. Many numbers of classical poets have enriched the poetry and the literature with their works. The modern poetry has influenced the Telugu poetry up to ours. Urbanization, industrialization, strained relations with the nature and in family, lack of love and unity between human beings, etc., have created a fear psychosis and loneliness in the modern man which was unknown to him earlier. Modern poets have reacted to this pathetic condition of man and expressed their feelings in poetry. Encounters with British rule have generated all kinds of responses from downright self-deprecation to rabid self-righteousness. Telugu poetry in the 20th century hinges more or less on these two extreme responses. On the one hand, there are poets who still swear by old classical virtues of artistic finesse, refined idiom and sacred sentiments. On the other, there are poets who sing in coarse colloquial language with overtly irreverent tones. 20th century Telugu poetry one finds a clear divide, almost a running feud, among 20th century Telugu poets over the issue of what constitutes the right stuff for poetry. The impact of English education and various social reform movements is clearly visible in these lines. With the groundwork laid, let's now examine poetry of feeling and its connections to our previous discussions. Later, a new school called Bhavakavitam poetry of feeling, spearheaded by Ray Prabu Sabara and Duvalapalli Krishna Sastry, held sway for quite a while. With their accent on non-sexual love, the poets of this school tried to parody the erotic and sensuous poetry of their Sanskrit and Telugu predecessors. But very soon this school, for its lack of social and political consciousness, came under fierce attack from the Marxists. The soft imagery of moonlight, jasmine flowers, cool breeze, etc., was soon replaced by the stark and jarring images of violence, excreta and anarchy. Paryavarana Reddy, a poet of this raw new sensibility, writes, "Sorry moon. What can I say? No one even mistakes you for a lost rupee coin. Really, you are not wanted here." In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on progressive and revolutionary poetry and its role in shaping our understanding. From the Urs onward, it was the progressive poets who ruled the Telugu poetry. The Abhyudaya Rachayatala Samam Progressive Writers Association, followed by another association, the Virasam Revolutionary Writers Movement, along with many local Naxalite and Maoist associations, have dominated the Telugu literary scene. The poet who emerged almost as an icon was Sri Sri, who, much like Posh in Punjabi, created a powerful anti-establishment, anti-colonial and anti-capitalist sentiment among the public at the grassroots level. In a poem entitled Myth of Myself, the poet imagines himself to be an Naxalite who transforms himself into a pumpkin after being killed by the police in a force encounter. When the pumpkin is swallowed by a cow, even resting in the intestines of a cow is a luxury, aha. Moving about in the belly of the cow is like staying in a 5-star hotel. The poet as rebel wants to return through cow's excrement so that he is ready for another round of armed combat with the power structures. Sri Sri wants to lend his voice to the roar of the world, offer his tear to the reign of the world. Revolutionary poets of Andhra Pradesh who continuously feed the Naxalite movement in Andhra Pradesh through their soul-stirring songs. These songs may not have an artistic tone, but written in dialects used by low castes, these songs go well with the masses in the countryside. Most of the songs border on plain political rhetoric and even sloganeering, but perhaps this is what the political and social reality of Andhra region. Similarly, English writings also published in newspapers by the poets and journalists to support the movement. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of feminism and Dalit movement in this section. Later in this upcoming women and Dalit poets occupied the literary scenario, taking the subjects of women rights and freedom, Dalit rights and so on. The ideology went for till years and even it is continuing. Substantial literature came in Telugu on feminism and Dalit movement. Many poets wrote on various issues of women and downtrodden people of the society. Some writers became mad of these subjects and leaving all other social issues. Dalit movement, Sri women movement are sporadic movements in Andhra Pradesh literature. They could not influence and their impact is very little and could not produce best literary works. As we move forward, let's uncover the untold stories and fascinating intricacies of mini poetry movement. Parallelly, mini poetry came into the scene as in the leadership of Drive Ravi Ranga Rao. Mini poetry went for a decade as a poetry movement. The main idea of this is to write poetry in short form to make the reader to understand easily. The main objective of mini poetry is to convey the message sharply in few words. Some of the seniors, who were writing in traditional poetry and free verse, opposed this short form of poetry. They argued that it is degrading the value of the modern poetry. But many poets got motivated for writing mini poetry and lot of literature came in Telugu. All these movements are going in Telugu and also English language through English newspapers in Andhra Pradesh. In post-independence, English newspapers have played a prominent role in literature not only for English but also for Telugu. Indian Express, The Hindu, Deccan Chronicle newspapers have dominant role among English readers of Andhra Pradesh. Some poets wrote in Telugu and English simultaneously. Many books have published on these subjects and movements. Some of the prominent Telugu works have been translated in English for the benefit and indeed informative to the non-Telugu readers, a quick understanding of broad literary trends and movements in poetry during the 20th century in Andhra Pradesh. In this section, we'll be exploring Paryavarana Kavitodyamam in 21st century. Paryavarana Kavitodyamam is Telugu word and its English translation is environment poetry movement. The basic idea of this movement is to propagate environmental awareness through creative forms of literature to not only learned people, but also to masses. Rapid growth of population human requirements is not getting fulfilled. People spoiling environment and it is bringing many new problems and changes in living conditions. With these changes there are many changes in the environment. There is strong need to propagate about environment protection that through literary forms of communication through magazines and newspapers that will give good results. Poems, stories, slogans, essays should be encouraged to write in local languages and also English to take the matter to grassroots level. To Paryavarana Kiran Foundation Nataja Tribadkam under the leadership of internationally known environmentalist and Telugu poet, scholar Vidyavachaspati Prof. Drive North Murphy has started Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement and the movement is going on very strong in the minds of literary personalities and also going to the grassroots level through various activities. Brace yourself for an in-depth analysis as we navigate through Harita Kavita Green poem and its far-reaching implications. Harita Kavita Green poem. To promote this concept, Harita Kavita Green poem, an international poems competition, has been announced through Multiga magazine. This announcement came in almost all newspapers in Andhra Pradesh in English and Telugu in the month of May 2008. More than 600 poets responded and they have written poems and sent to this competition. A selection jury under the chairmanship of Vidyavachaspati Prof. Drive North Murthy, crusader of this movement, and others. Drive Ramachandra Mouli, a prominent poet. Drive Ravi Ranga Rao, crusader of mini poetry movement. Drive Chennai, literary observer and officer in Pottisuramallu Telugu University, has been formed to select the poems. Selection process is clearly announced in the form of a flow chart with a well-defined method of evaluation, with 40% for subject, 35% for creativity and 25% for language. Winners have been selected. Apart from their poems, many poems have been selected, and these are getting published in Multiga and other newspapers. An anthology of poems in Telugu is in the process of publication. These Telugu poems are getting translated, and English volume is also getting ready for publication. Selection process of poems for Harita Kavita International Poetry Competition in scientific method. Quality standards in selection of poems for Harita Kavita International Poetry Competition. Now, let's dig deeper into Harita Sahiti Green literature and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. Harita Sahiti Green literature. Another competition, Harita Sahiti Green literature, has also been announced to analyze, criticize, and promote this green poetry. Several poets are writing articles, essays, reviews, and so on green poetry in Telugu magazines, newspapers. A volume of literary articles is in the process of publication. The entire idea is to bring awareness about environment among people. This is a new literary trend coming up in Andhra Pradesh in Telugu-language. With the groundwork laid, let's now examine Harita Kotta Green story and its connections to our previous discussions. Harita Kotta Green story. To promote this concept, Harita Kotta Green story, a story competition, has been announced through Kadaki magazine. This announcement came in the month of September 2009. More than 100 writers responded, and they have written stories and sent to this competition. A selection jury under the chairmanship of Vidyavachaspati Prof. Drive North Murthy, crusader of this movement, and 3 others have been formed to select the stories. Selection process is under progress for selecting stories. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of messages from international personalities. Several prominent personalities world over sent informative messages in support of this movement. These messages also published in Multiga in last 15 months' time. Messages and supportive letters came in different languages of the world with an English translation. These are a big motivating factor for this great movement. Now, we shift our focus to Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement logo, a topic that deserves our attention. Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement logo. A special logo has been designed by a European artist for this movement, indicating the concept of environment and its protection. The logo was released by Konijeti Rosaya, the then Honorable Minister for Finance, present Chief Minister, Govt of Andhra Pradesh. This special color logo has been given as Anika 1. Now, we shift our focus to involvement of top people, a topic that deserves our attention. Many top personalities are involved in this movement. Drive Y South. Ray Josikara Reddy Y South. Ray Josikara Reddy, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, released special issue of Multiga magazine focusing environment. He also released a sticker on Save Water, Save Environment. Kelvin. VP Ramachandra Rao Kelvin. VP Ramachandra Rao, advisor to Govt of AP, PV Ranga Rao, former Education Minister, son of former Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao Kondalakshman Babaji, former D Speaker, Nayada Bhaskara Rao, former Chief Minister, and many other personalities involved in this movement and gave their support. Turning our focus to television interviews, let's explore its key elements. Gemini TV gave full half-an-hour interview of this author under the program Guest Star about this movement and environmental problems. ETV2 gave coverage about this movement in Telugu Velag program. TJ channels give short interviews in their news bulletins during the year 2008. City Cable, Vijayawada telecasted full interview of this author about global warming. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of radio talks as we dive into its profound implications. AI Vijayawada station broadcast several talks of Prof. Drive North Murthy, crusader of this movement, on various burning problems of environment during the year. These talks received tremendous response from the listeners of coastal Andhra Pradesh. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of rallies in this section. Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement is not only limiting to creation of literature, but also several other forms of communication. Rallies with literary slogans are organized to mobilize the masses from grassroots level. A rally with 40,000 people was organized on 15 August 2008 at Elo. Another rally has been organized at Nagpur on the occasion of Earth Day in the year 2008. In this part of the video, we'll be delving deeper into lectures and analyzing its key components. Lectures have been delivered various colleges, schools, social organizations, and professional bodies to bring awareness about environment and green literature. Prominent among these Kelvin L. College of Engineering, Vijayawada, Mara College of Engineering, Narasarpet, the Institution of Engineers India Vijayawada Center. Moving on to the next segment, we have National Science Communication Congress. Ministry of Science and Technology, Govt of India organized 8th Science Communication Congress at Chennai during December 2008. There was a special invited lecture in English on this Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement during its deliberations of 3-day Congress. There was also a discussion on importance of green literature in India that in 21st century. Scientists, journalists, writers, poets stressed that there is a strong need of green literature. The abstract of this lecture has been published in the proceedings of the Congress. With our foundation established, it's time to explore Sahitya Academy National Seminar and its relevance to our overarching theme. Sahitya Academy has organized a seminar on integration through translation in Vijayawada on 2 January 2009. In this seminar there was a discussion on Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement as a unique in all Indian languages and also English. Many poets, writers came from all over India felt that English literature coming up through this movement will be highly useful to readers of other languages. This green literature is going to be a remarkable literary contribution for not only Indian English literature, but also for all Indian languages for the generations to come. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of UGC National Seminar at Cattle, Nagpur as we examine its impact and relevance. UGC National Seminar at Cattle, Nagpur. University Grants Commission organized a national seminar on post-colonial English literature in India in February 2009 at Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Cattle, near Nagpur. A paper on this Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement has been presented by this author in this seminar and it was well received by the participants. With our foundation established, it's time to explore International Symposium at Tirupati and its relevance to our overarching theme. Department of Zoology, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati in collaboration with United States Environmental Protection Agency, RTP, NC, USA, Savannah State University, Savannah, Georgia, United States of America organized an international symposium on environmental pollution, ecology and human health, July 2009. Keynote lecture was given by this author on environment awareness through creative forms of literature with reference to Paryavarana Kavitodyamam in Andhra Pradesh. This was appreciated by everyone. Brace yourselves for the next chapter, where we'll be dissecting special lecture by former UN Under-Secretary General. A special lecture has been organized by Jagriti Kiran Foundation at Nagpur on environment in February 2009. This was delivered by Drive Shashi Tharoor, former UN Under-Secretary General and former Minister for External Affairs, Govt of India. This was well attended by many dignitaries of Nagpur. Drive Shashi Tharoor appreciated the Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement and its initiative taken by Jagriti Kiran Foundation. In this section, we'll be shedding light on training to fishermen and its impact on our understanding of the subject. A half-day training session was organized by Jagriti Kiran Foundation and Drive Ram Center of Bharati College, Kavali, at a coastal village near Kavali, about how to save sea. Fishermen were trained on how to save sea from plastics and modern industrial wastes so that they can get good fish. More than 50 fishermen participated in this, and the training was very fruitful. This was organized in December 2008. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards activities on YouTube and uncover its hidden depths. Many videos are available on YouTube giving activities of this movement time to time, and these videos good information about the movement. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze conclusion from different angles and evaluate its significance. There is a strong need of green literature in 21st century. Not only in Andhra Pradesh but also such movements like Paryavarana Kavitodyamam environment poetry movement are needed in all Indian languages. Literature produced on this subject in English in 21st century will be useful to all languages of India, and it will give a wonderful society. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and share it with someone who might benefit from it.